Hi Brother Wilson, this is Carrie and I'm going to explain to you my lesson plan today. So let's first talk about the student that I'm going to be teaching. I'm teaching a 3-year-old boy. His name is Tanner and he is my nephew. As we learned from Piaget's cognitive stages, he is at the pre-operational stage. We know from this that this child will use symbols such as words and images to represent meaning. Tanner has a great ability to pretend. Tanner is also at the geocentric stage, meaning he mostly thinks of himself without thinking or feeling for the desires of others. We also know from Erikson's developmental stages that his basic conflict is initiative versus guilt. Children in this stage need to begin asserting control and power over their environment. Success in this leads to a sense of purpose, but those children in this stage who try to exert too much power usually get disapproval, usually by the parents. This then leads to a sense of guilt. Learning the easiest basics of fishing is our goal in this lesson. So just the basics of fishing. It's not going to be anything too crazy. Let's see, so this is Tanner's zone of proximal development. These skills are too difficult for him to do by himself, but he's going to be able to do that with my help as the teacher. Now keep in mind that we are teaching Tanner just the basics of fishing. He's not going to do anything crazy. We're mostly going to be pushing the button and reeling it up, but I'll explain that just a little bit later. Tanner has a lot of interest in fishing already. He's explained this to his mom and dad and his extended family already. So he's really excited about fishing, especially, I think it's really cool, especially since he's only 3 years old. With this background though, I thought that this would be the perfect lesson. So the basics of our lesson include fish are in the water. The goal of fishing is to catch a fish with our fishing rod. Fish eat worms. To catch a fish, we must have a worm on our hook. For the fish to eat the worm must be in the water. And we do this by dropping the line in the water and then reeling it back up again. We are scaffolding this lesson into many different and broad parts so that Tanner is able to understand the whole entire lesson. His concentration level is low, and so we need to keep that in mind. While teaching my lesson, I want to emphasize to Tanner that fishing can be fun for everybody. We need to get rid of any kind of schema that might develop in his later years. He probably doesn't have that right now since he is so young, but I think that with this lesson, I can really help him understand that fishing isn't just for the old man. It can be for anybody, and especially for himself as a young boy. We're going to work on Tanner's working memory as well as his long-term memory. We're going to use his working memory to learn how to follow instructions. This will be specifically done when learning to push the button on the rod itself, dropping it in, and then reeling it up with the little reel. I'm going to ask him then to drop the hook and to reel it back in, and I'm going to see if he, in return, gives me those same instructions back to me. And this is also him comprehending what I have already taught him. We're going to apply this to his long-term memory. I'm hoping that he will remember this. If he doesn't though, I think he will remember just the basics of fishing and how fun fishing can be. This lesson is all about visualization. It will all be hands-on. This is partly due to his age and his lack of concentration, but I also feel that kinesthetic learning is very important. Using this type of learning, I instill knowledge in his mind. Tanner is going to learn really quickly that he can't do everything by himself because fishing is hard. This is my focus on learned helplessness. He needs help from his teacher to do certain things. Fishing takes time and is quite frustrating, but I think with time, lots of time in his case, he's going to become a really good fisherman if he really wants to. Tanner does need time to advance in his fine motor skills, and that could take a couple of years. This goes along with his fixed and growth mindset. So hopefully he will always be open to activities like fishing and know that his ability is due to his actions. It is so very important that before we start this lesson, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs are taken care of. Physically, he should have a full stomach, as well as have taken his nap beforehand. I'm also going to provide him with some fishy snacks like Swedish fish, just to kind of get him motivated, and maybe when he needs to take a break, he can have a snack. At all times, Tanner needs to feel safe. He needs to know the safety rules of being by water and how we always must have an adult and must have a hand nearby. Okay, Tanner knows that I am his aunt and that I have so much love for him, so that should ensure the sense of belonging with him. Positive reinforcement is also very important here. Application is when we finally put all of our good knowledge to use. We will go out and we'll just have a good time. If he doesn't want to fish or if he doesn't want to follow certain rules or directions, then that's totally fine. I'm going to let him kind of just do what he wants and discover things about fishing that he didn't know before. I also want Tanner to have a sense of control as well, so I'm going to give him options and a dilemma. So I'm going to give him 3 fishing poles and see which ones he chooses. I have a really short fishing pole for him, as well as 2 adult fishing poles. And so we're going to see which one he chooses, and he's going to have that sense of control, and he's going to experiment for himself. This is also student-centered learning. Okay, I could literally go on and on about my lesson and how much Tanner and I will learn from each other, but we're just going to go out and do it, and we're going to have fun, and I'm so excited to share with you what I've learned and what Tanner will learn. Thanks.